Firstly, looking back at the week as a whole, 2 more wins. It's been very successful for you. What do you make of both the performances?
They're both very good. Saturday, for 70 minutes, we were very good, and did everything to try and get ourselves further in front. Couldn't score the second, and then you have to say fair play to Martin. They've gambled the result for the last 10-15 minutes, and you've got to respond. But I thought the players really coped with all those problems extremely well. And then on Tuesday, I would doubt you can play better than that away from home, to be honest. So in what was a big game, for them especially, to go and cope in the way that we did, I thought was, again, full credit to the players.
Is that one of those games where, I suppose people say they've been happy to get a point out of it? Would you maybe have thought that before?
They would have been happy.
No, yourselves before the Tuesday.
No, I don't think so at all. I don't think we've approached any game in that manner. I don't think you can. But sure, if you walk off the pitch and it's a draw, it doesn't hurt us as much as it hurts them. And that's the position that we've put everyone else in. If you look at some of the results around the country in the league, there's some strange results at the minute, and it may well be that everybody is already catching up, or playing catch up, as I should say, and being forced to win games.
Are you surprised at the actual gap you've got in terms of there's no one, that close to you already? Because normally there's a team that keeps pace with the, there's normally a couple of teams that tend to get away, isn't it?
Well, look, there's a whole bunch of teams, from second down to about, I don't know, halfway, that are very close, and maybe that's the reason why the gap is as big as it is. And probably people would have thought that we would be in that pack, and everybody might have had 1 or 2 more points. But it just works out that way sometimes. You can't really tell. I mean, Dave Moore's a good friend of mine who's at Grimsby. The physio was with me at Scunthorpe, and they were 13th. Win 3 games in a row and they're second. Lose 1 and they're 6th. So that's where the teams are below us, and they're all bunched up, and they're all playing catch up and all playing each other. So it's one of those things where we've got ourselves ahead. We keep stressing the importance of let's get further ahead, and we'll continue to try and do that.
I suppose in some ways is it quite easy to keep them focused in that respect? Because people talk about complacency and what have you, but there's not been any element of that at all, and not in any of the games I've seen so far.
Well, it's never easy to do that. Certainly before Saturday, with a week to the game previous, we were very strong with them that week, because there is an opportunity for complacency to creep into that particular match, especially with Grimsby coming up on the Tuesday. And I think you've got to pick the games where you realise you need to maybe be a little bit tougher and stronger. And it will get tougher and stronger from here on in now, because whilst I don't think until now we were probably up there to be shot at, I think that given the fact that we're now 14 unbeaten, it's going to be a feather in whichever team's cap it should be that finally does break the record.
I suppose looking at Chester, they beat Alfreton away Tuesday night, which obviously is a feat in itself. So do you feel they're the sort of team who might fancy it, certainly given their position as well?
I don't think there's any doubt about that. If you look at the favourites at the beginning of the season, Chester were amongst them, because they came up from the league below with such a good record, and a big club, who've decided to stay part time, which is a bit of a surprise. Started poorly, but in recent weeks they've improved enormously. I think Steve Burr said last week that that was the second game against them, and they've improved enormously. And I've only got to write their last probably 6 results up on the board, and the players will soon understand that, you know, suddenly they've turned a big corner, and they're very, you know, they're very aggressive. They're very up for it. There's no doubt about that. The support's very parochial up there, and they'll really get behind their team. There's no doubt about that. But 0-0 at home last week against Kidderminster, 0-0 against Grimsby, the home game before that, a 1-0 victory at Alfreton, which, as people know, I think is the toughest place to go to in the league. You know, those three results alone, I think a 2-1 victory against Macclesfield, who are also improving in that run of results, then people will understand that, you know, they suddenly have turned the corner.